from this world. We are the QuestBros. Welcome to our side quest pod quest. As almost always, I am.
Did you say watching again?
No, he said side quest pod quest.
I said pod quest?
Yeah.
I thought it said podcast.
No, you said pod quest.
Oh.
Can we call it that? Can we call it a pod quest?
No.
Why not?
I'm Jarod, and with me almost as always is Matthew. And that's your cue.
He's too upset by the podcast.
That's Dan.
I'm
And
so
we should
pissed.
call it that from now on,
I'm
the podcast.
so fucking angry.
Anyway,
That's Dan.
George. Yeah. And then,
I'm Bree.
And I'm Anthony.
alright, so
We got Bree a second time.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh man,
Here
how did that
again.
happen?
Yep, it's a whole other day.
Yep.
New things have happened. No, this is still the same day.
Guys.
does anybody remember Push Pops?
Shut up. It's like
I'll take that as a yes.
talk about that.
I had push pops in school. Like that was like one of the cafeteria things that they gave us.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
In kindergarten, they sold ice cream to us for like less than $1.
Ha! Guess what they sold us for $1 from kindergarten through all ages?
Weed.
No! Root beer and orange crush floats.
Really?
Oh wow.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. So I told my girlfriend the other day about all the things like my school would serve us in elementary school, and she thinks it's bullshit. Like,
Yeah, it is.
like
I mean, it sounds
fair.
hard to believe. It's
So-
not really bullshit.
So, two things are like, okay, so every weekday there'd be two things, and you would have to pick one of those two.
Usually like burger or chicken.
Yeah, and then they would have a third special item
Yeah.
as they change off every day or so. And I don't remember all of them, but I know that pizza was on Wednesdays. Friday had mac and cheese and like a foot-long hot dog.
Oh.
But they changed out the foot-long hot dog after Lent to fish.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like fish sticks.
and like on Monday there was always like waffles with syrup
Mm-hmm. And then they're like mini corn dogs.
and mini corn dogs, yeah. And there was one that they had like straight up like home style burger, which like lettuce, tomato, cheese,
Mhm.
like an actual like burger.
Mhm.
Crap.
And then there was one that we had that really surprised her. But we had like sirloin.
Really?
What?
Yeah. Like little pieces of sirloin steak.
I don't believe that.
No,
That's-
she didn't either.
That's
But that was like one of the things, and it was on a Friday. But I didn't get one. Not a lot of people didn't get it because they didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
I
So-
feel like I remember eating a version that might be like what you thought it was, like confusing for that because I mean you were younger.
But
Like
there was also like
Salisbury
Salisbury steak.
Yeah.
though.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what. See, I thought you guys were just about to say that, but that was on Thursdays. Like that was a normal thing to have.
I have a question. Was your pizza like in a round pan?
Nope, square.
Yeah,
Yes.
same. It was so weird. And it was
Pizza
And it
ever.
was fit perfectly. But
Yeah.
our pizza was kind of weird, as like you could put it in a ball and,
and
it
it would
literally bounce.
Yep, I knew that.
I didn't have that, but no, we had the square or like the rectangular pizzas, but it tasted so bad.
Oh yeah, it's always bad.
It tasted like
I
rubber
thought they
and
were
To
corn.
go back to the
The mushrooms.
sirloin thing, there was like mushrooms and stuff on top too. It was like, ugh. Like,
That's like old people, like
Yeah.
steak. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it was like
Like,
steak
yeah,
with
like
like
a steak,
mushroom
steak.
and stuff. And there was some
Ooh.
kind of like sauce on it too. It was like weird.
I totally know what you're talking about. It has a name, and I couldn't tell you what it is, but it has a name.
But that's what they served us. And
Yeah.
isn't that crazy?
That
Like
is.
you gave a kid that?
Yeah, like we had like special meals like that in high school.
And it wasn't Salisbury steak or
Yeah,
anything.
because that's
Right.
the closest thing I would think.
Like,
No, it wasn't that.
I don't know. We kind of had meals like that in high school. We had like a la carte lane that would have like wings, mac and cheese that you could get like bacon and like stuff in, and then we had there was like pastas and stuff like that would have that was like special stuff, but we never got steak. Like
Yeah.
Even in
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
though, right? It was like a little thing of
The greatest
sirloin
thing
with
we had
mushrooms
was, like,
and
wing
some kind
cookies.
of like mushroom and cream sauce
Yeah.
or something. Like that's what we got, and it was a Friday special. They did it like 3 or 4 times if I remember, and it was like, that's weird.
So I have a lunch lady story.
Oh, good.
Oh,
No,
and
it's-
strawberry milk. They give us that
Oh,
every Wednesday.
I love strawberry milk.
Loved
They,
it.
they gave us that as an option.
So
They
where I
get
went
Phil
to
Lawrence.
elementary school, it was like an elementary school was one hallway and the rest was a middle school. And the middle schoolers, they had like cookies, like big cookies, like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
that they
Big
could.
Cookie Wednesday.
That's
what
yeah.
we had.
That's what we
But
had.
like the middle schoolers could get like the cookies and stuff, but they didn't give it to the elementary school kids because we're little and they don't want to give us sugar, I guess. But there was a lunch lady who like where I would stand while I was waiting like to go to class in the morning was like right by where she would be making the cookies, and she'd always give me a cookie in the morning, and it was so sweet. She was like the nicest lunch lady ever.
Man, see, I always made friends with all my lunch ladies too, and they always like saved me stuff.
They would.
Yeah.
Oh, what I always had it was at the end of the day, because we were always like last lunch, they would just bring out the extra food to us. Be like, we're just gonna throw it out, so you have more food.
I had that too.
Yeah.
In high school.
High school and middle school.
Oh, I didn't have that in middle school because I always had like first lunch in middle school. But in high school, I always had like last lunch. And if you waited until like 2 minutes before lunch ended,
well,
they're like, we're gonna throw this stuff out anyways. So just
because in high school we all sat together pretty much, or at least for like the last year.
Yeah.
And we sat right in front of the doors, like where you come out of the line. So that's why they just always gave it to us too.
It was like,
God, how I wish I stayed at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got free food.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no,
That's what you
I
get
feel
for
like I
ditching
missed
us.
out now.
so
You live and
Can we
learn.
talk about like the state fair thing?
okay,
Yeah, we
you
want
guys
to know.
are like pressing on me
Yeah.
about
Because
this.
it's so,
We wanna
you keep
know.
like building it up. And
It's
probably gonna
not
be something
that big of a
stupid.
deal. Honestly, okay, so at our state fair, at the main pavilion, it was evacuated. Now, the reason being was people thought they heard a gunshot, which
What?
obviously they didn't, because if you shot a gun in the main pavilion, you'd hear it throughout the whole fair.
It was a pop gun, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
It wasn't a gun at all. So, two workers inside the pavilion started getting in a fist fight and started fighting each other.
Great.
But somebody started pounding on either like the door or something, and someone thought that pounding was the gunshot, which you have to be a fucking bleep that to know what that pounding on a door sounds like a gunshot. Because if you've heard a gun, that's like
Yeah.
that's a gun.
Yeah, even from a distance, you can hear like the popping.
Yeah, like
Man.
honestly, you have to be outright stupid to think something was like a gun versus being pounding on a door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that was dumb. And someone thought that was a gun and pulled the fire alarm, which is what you thought.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And they all started running out of the main pavilion. And it's like, come on. It's like, honestly, you seriously think that, like, that was, like, I get the whole, like, fighting thing.
Yeah.
But, like, just have the manager walk in there and handle it. You didn't have to pull the fire alarm. And, like, that was, like, the dumbest thing ever. And I just imagine me being there and me knowing what a gun sounds like and knowing that the pounding of a door is not a gun. And me standing there as the fire alarm's going off, like...
And everyone's just running past
Everyone's
you. and
running past me.
"The
And
hell?"
I just walk up and I was like, okay, I would like 3 burgers and just like some eclairs or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, hello?
Do you have a malt?
It's
Can,
like-
can I have a malt?
It was like, and the cops come. There's like, there's a gunshot, and I'd be like, there was a pounding on a door. It was like,
You're just eating your hamburger. It's like
even a metal door. Like, God, people are dumb.
What I'm curious, and you're probably gonna call me an idiot for this, is
Yeah.
I want to know what the two guys were fighting about.
Yeah, actually, I'm
You know what?
too.
I won't call you an idiot for that because that's actually a good question.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Wow.
someone
Congratulations.
Hooray!
mark this day in the calendar.
Where
Jared
Jared
asked a good question. No, I don't know, and I would love to know. It was
Okay.
probably just like,
probably something stupid.
your hair looks dumb. Well, go fuck yourself. No, you say me? Go fuck yourself. And it's just like,
Yeah, that's usually how most fights start.
Yeah.
yeah, but I thought it was like a guy and a girl that were fighting, like fist fighting. That was like, ugh.
Yeah.
You're,
Ugh.
I've learned if you're gonna fight a girl, you're probably gonna lose.
You
Either way.
always
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
You don't win that.
Yeah.
You either lose the fight
Or
because-
you lose the court
or
settlement.
you lose the
Yeah.
which any real
Or you
man
lose
would
consciousness
lose a fight against
because
a
the
woman.
police come, or the boyfriend comes in.
Yeah, it's like, honestly though, unbelievable. But no, girlfriend was right outside there, and it was like she told me about that when she walked in, and I was like, sounds like people were dumb.
Yeah.
You could hear a gunshot.
Especially when it's so close to name major city here. There we go. Just put that over. Yeah.
Insert major city.
That one.
He asked a good question, which is smart, but then does something stupid like that we have to cut and bleep out. You are the dumbest smart person I know.
That was.
God, why are you so fucking stupid?
That was just an accident, all right.
So fucking.
That was
dumb.
just an accident on my part. Anyway,
Okay,
and
no,
we're
that-
back.
No, because sometimes like when we do stuff like that, and I'm like cutting. I'm like, okay, where am I cutting back in? Where am I cutting back in?
No, keep all of that.
And
They
we're-
need to know that we had to take something out or bleep it because he's a fucking idiot.
It was just a mistake, man. There's a
God
difference from making a
damn it.
mistake and just being an idiot.
You're both. Somehow you
I'm
took
a mistake
making a
and
mistake.
an idiot.
Somehow you took the physical incarnation of making mistakes and the physical incarnation of an idiot, and they made you.
Okay, so when my parents actually like listen to my podcast,
Bleep that.
yeah, we're not gonna.
You gotta bleep that.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like, that stays in, but we bleep it.
Yeah,
So-
it stays in our memory.
It's like, how did that happen though? I met both your parents and they're not that.
So,
Well,
What happened to you?
I dropped myself on my head when I was a kid.
You dropped
yourself?
yourself.
Story time, everybody.
I was dropped on my head twice as a kid. What happened to you? Did the one drop just mess you up, and then the first drop for me messed me up, but the second drop knocked me back in place?
Probably.
yeah.
Is that what happened there?
Probably. So
That's
when
the story
when
when I
I-
stabbed
It's
someone.
like that SpongeBob.
Shut
Can I-
up.
I
Let
was-
him tell his story about falling.
when I was like a real little kid, like when they had me in the crib still.
He's just chilling in his crib.
Yeah. No, what I do, like in the middle of the night, there would be the crib and then the changing table.
I hope you had a
I don't know why that killed you, Anthony. I don't know why.
They're changing stable like you're a horse.
That's where they change his like fucking saddle and shit.
Saddle and
They put,
spurs.
they put the bit and stride into his mouth and stuff.
Okay, anyway.
Changing
going.
table. And so in the middle of the night, I would go from the crib, go onto the changing table, and then go down, and then like just my mom would wake up, and I would just be sitting there like right by her side. So she's like, "Okay, how the hell is this kid doing this?" So at night she would just watch me do this, and she's like, "Oh, well this has to stop." So they moved the changing table to the other side. You guys aren't gonna let that go, are you?
No.
They're gonna move. So they moved the changing table to the opposite side of the room. So at night, I went to go climb down, and then just boom, just
Just knocked you out of
yeah.
bed.
And they're
Why
like,
not
"Oh,
just
Jared's up."
Why not just put something in the way so like you couldn't climb up?
It was probably just easier just to move it in general.
Yeah, easier than he fell on his head. That's what happens when you think something's gonna be easier. Your
Yeah.
kid dies.
Well,
He's
I'm
still
not
here.
dead, obviously, and also I didn't do it anymore.
Yeah, but what
So
kind
there.
of life is a life if you think everything is like something different?
That
What?
made no
I just-
sense.
What?
Okay.
You want to try that again, bud? And you call me an idiot? Fuck you, Dan.
What is that?
That's a
3?
complete
That's
sandwich.
3.
Okay, what is a life if every day you wake up and everything is new? Everything is like, oh, what's that fireball in the sky? What is a
That
fireball?
basically is for babies because they don't have object permanence. So
So basically, you're just saying, what's it like to have no object permanence?
What's it like to be an idiot? It's
Did
like,
you just call babies idiots?
well, are they not?
They
It's like,
they don't know anything.
so we came to the conclusion that Jared has the mind of an infant. It's like, is
I
that
mean,
what it
obviously
came
not,
to?
because I say some freaking profound things.
Like the
It's
word
rare, but
It
still, it happens.
It happened.
Just unbelievable. All right.
I know I am
Now,
unbelievable.
stabbing story.
Moving
So
on.
during our break, we like all mentioned stories we had.
So let me tell you about a story when I stabbed a kid.
Was it me?
So, alright. When I was younger, I was prone to aggression.
Yes.
Very aggressive kid.
No.
Very aggressive.
Like, that's how I knew you. Like,
Yeah.
as the aggressor.
I was the aggressor. Even now, I'm like, I've leveled out a bit, but I'm still pretty aggressive. Like,
But you're better at channeling it.
I like, instead of saying that Jarod is stupid with my fist, I go the Anthony route and say he's stupid with my mouth. It's like,
Just write a
stupid.
strongly worded letter with my words.
Wait,
with
are you
my
saying
mouth.
that when you were younger, instead of actually telling people they were stupid, you just punched them in the face?
When they pissed me off, instead of just telling them to stop or whatever, I would usually just punch them.
Or in this
Really
case,
hard.
he
Or-
stabbed someone.
Okay, we'll get to that. First, we gotta go back a bit. When I was in elementary school, there was this kid that I really didn't like. We'll call him Todd. Todd was an asshole. And he was mean to me, and I was mean to him, which is funny because I actually have a friend named something else, but his nickname was Todd, but he's
That's
not
neither
the
here nor there. Just
Yeah.
continue the story.
Anyways, so Todd was an asshole. And we got in a fight, and he slapped my face, and my glasses went flying. And like Bruce Banner, when he's like ready to rip his shirt off and beat that bitch into submission, like when my glasses came off, it's like, or were like hit off or anything, that's like my breaking point. That's like when I'm like, okay, you're gonna die. It's like, so I kicked the kid down, took his head, pushed it in the concrete, and just started punching his face into the concrete.
God.
It was like, and my friend tried to stop me, but I just pushed him away and kept punching his face into the concrete. I was like, imagine your head put like straight to the concrete and then just like punched over and over and over. A teacher came out and dragged us apart, and I got out of school suspension and stuff, blah, blah, blah. That was 5th grade.
Great.
So when did you stab a person?
8th grade. 7th grade. 8th or 7th.
Middle school.
Middle school.
Okay.
Middle
Was it
school
Todd
a
again?
Wild time.
No.
Okay.
So we'll call this guy
James.
Tim,
Tim.
which
Timmy.
was another friend I had. So just friends' names.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah, exactly. So Tim, I was eating lunch and I was in quote unquote Tim's spot for lunch, which if you know how our middle school was set up, nobody had like a spot.
No, it's just a bunch of tables down.
It was like, go fuck yourself if you're like, oh, you're in my spot. Go fucking shut your mouth.
Yes.
Like, cut your tongue out. You don't deserve it.
It's like you're
It's
not
like,
Sheldon.
No. So the guy Tim pushed me to the ground, and I was going to go to punch him, but my hands were in my pocket. So I grabbed what was ever in my pocket, which was at a time a pen. And instead of going like this and punching him, since I had something in my hand, I stabbed him with it and ripped his shirt off with it and gave him a pretty good scar. It was like, and all he could do was just stand up and was like, what the fuck? And I was just like, we're standing there, and I was about to shank him or stab him again because I was pissed. I was like, seeing nothing but red and time to just kill. This is like, but no. Then a teacher came up, separated us. I got out of school suspension. I don't know. I got suspensioned, and when I got back, all of my teachers treated me like I was a criminal. So that was nice. I was like, except like 2 or 3. I was like,
great.
one of the teachers that like I was their favorite student, I was like now their least favorite student, and they were a total asshole to me because of the whole situation. I was like, you know what, bitch, fucking shut your mouth. I was like, you don't know what happened, even though you were there watching it. For some reason, you're still just oblivious to the whole fact that it was just that of the moment. Stupid teachers.
Stupid teachers.
I don't know. I like have those teachers that are like, that's a good teacher, but then I have those teachers that like burn. It's like just die. It's like,
wow.
Have you ever had a teacher that you can tell went into teaching because they wanted to make
kids' lives a living hell?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. We actually got one fired.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Yes. I don't know her name. She was in elementary school though. And she started like ripping my friend, we'll call him M,
Mark.
ripping him a new one, and they took M into the principal's office, or she did, and the principal started yelling at, like, hey, you can't do that, blah, blah. But then he turned to the teacher and started yelling at her because M told the principal about what she had said. And the teacher started ripping her a new one. My friend M comes back to us, to the gang, and was like, guys, the principal said one more time of this incident and she's out. We paid, like, she was, like, purposely trying to be good and stuff. Like, you could tell. It was, like, hurting her.
Yeah.
We were poking that bear. We were like, hey, get mad at us. Hey, go fuck yourself. Hey, get pissed. Do this. Come on. Do it. Come on. Go. Go. Go.
That's not poking the bear. That's just straight up stabbing the bear.
We eventually got her to snap at M again, believe it or not. And she just started going to town on everyone. She's just... in front of the principal. I was like, yes! We did it! I was like, that was the time. That was it. This was it. All the marbles lined up to make a perfect shot, and boom! We got her. She was never there ever again. To this day, she's still fired.
It's just We Are the Champions are playing in the background.
We are the champions.
Did you guys ever, she was like a district sub. Did you guys ever have Miss Ruby?
Sounds familiar.
Yes.
Sounds really familiar.
She was a terrible teacher, and like there was one day, this was in high school.
Yeah, we had her for high school. At least I did.
And I'll give another name. This kid's name is Jacob. He's in. This was like my history class, and Jacob's just like he comes in late, like he normally does. But the teacher was subbing at the time. So then he comes in and he just starts talking, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm always late, blah, blah, blah. You should get used to it. Yeah, it's funny.
I think I know who you're talking about, too.
I like how you guys can already tell who I'm talking about. So then he sits down, and like he's got his headphones in, and he's just like talking to whatever. He's not paying attention. Teacher gets pissed, so she hits the button that calls like the vice principal down, and comes down. And comes in and he starts like, oh, you call the vice principal down, like why you gotta do that, why you gotta be like that. He goes out and like he really didn't do anything, so the vice principal sends him back.
He yelled at the substitute.
Well, he's just said it was like, oh, I'm always late, but he wasn't then just talking to other people. He was just being disruptive, I guess, but like he wasn't being like rude that you had to get the vice principal down here. So then the vice principal sends him back in, and he's like, oh, I told you that they weren't gonna do anything, and then, like he sits down. He's like, man, you shouldn't have done that. She goes and hits the button again and gets the vice principal down. And the vice principal at that point is like, what the hell am I going to do now? But no, I don't think that teacher worked there anymore.
Speaking of high school subs.
Yeah, she did work there because you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Speaking of high school subs, you guys remember Mr. Ball?
Oh,
he was awesome.
Dude, I saw him on the news. Like,
yeah, because
really?
he was selling drugs.
Yeah, he was selling drugs.
I'm just thinking about this guy too.
Yeah.
Is it bad to have an honest living by selling illegal drugs?
And supposedly, like, he said, like, the dinosaurs didn't exist.
What?
Yeah,
What?
He didn't believe the dinosaurs
he was
existed.
crazy.
And he was a science teacher.
Was he part of the Flat Earth Society too?
Apparently.
They have members around the globe.
Exactly.
So I had a science teacher, 6th grade. His name was Mr. Young, and he was crazy. Like, he was also a hoarder and would, like you know the ceiling tiles that you can, like, push up on? Yeah, like the ones here, they can't see it, but he, like, was storing things in the ceiling of his classroom. Like, when he quit, they were, like, freaked out by how much stuff he had to clean out of that room. But anyway, if he didn't like you were kind of screwed. And there's this one kid in my class that I remember, he was just literally sitting there in the middle of class, like, not doing anything. The teacher was giving a lecture. And all of a sudden, he looks at him and was like, I'm going to say his name is Will. Was like, Will, what are you doing? He's like, I'm not doing anything. And he was like, that's it. You're going to write me a 300-word essay. And then he's like, but I didn't do anything. He's like, 500 words. And just keeps going with it. And, like, then made the kid go sit in the hall and write him this essay. And he was literally doing nothing, like, just sitting there in class. This was 6th grade, and it was,
wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Man, how do you guys remember, like, those teachers' names. Like, I had a substitute in. I think
they were
I'll,
so bad.
That's how terrible they were.
I'll win with this one because of what he was or what he did and what he got in trouble for. But I had a substitute gym teacher. Don't know his name or anything. Just remember that he was a really cool guy. He liked penguins and he juggled.
I mean,
At least he didn't juggle penguins.
He had like little stuffed penguins that he could juggle.
Oh,
So technically he did juggle.
Yeah.
penguins.
I mean, like baby penguins. It's like, no, put those down.
But he was like the coolest gym teacher, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Came up on the news, pedophile. It was like, okay.
Those penguins are a metaphor for something.
It's like you just have this corkboard. It's like, this means something.
Yeah.
Like, so he went to jail and whatnot. Don't know his name at all, but it's like, because I don't remember. It was like 4th grade, but I was like, what? I was like, how does that happen? What kind of background checks are they doing for teachers?
Did you guys ever have any really creepy, like, classmates?
Class.
You know, that just, like, are, like, kids
Have
in
you
your grade?
been to our high school?
No, I didn't go to your high school.
It's like,
I actually have a story about something really stupid that happened.
Yeah.
You think I have stupid things? Just wait until you hear this.
I
So,
mean,
trust me, this is even stupider.
Is this something I did?
No, it wasn't you. This was history.
Stupid
This
is
was
not
in
a
history
word.
class,
Okay.
and we were going through like the whole JFK assassination thing, and the teacher was not really having us reenact it. It was just like he was just saying like,
here's the gun. Who's getting shot?
I like the fact that you said stupider and then instantly said something like the teacher did something. Is that the dumber person?
No.
Is the teacher
no,
dumb?
no. He was like, he was saying, okay, like this was where Harvey Oswald was, and then this was where the driver was, and blah blah blah. So he had one person be the driver, and then like one person be the mayor of Texas, and then JFK.
So on
and his
and so
wife.
forth.
And then
Yeah.
the rest was the crowd.
Yeah, and the rest was the crowd.
Did they all cry on cue?
No, what? that would have been actually impressive. But the stupidest thing was the driver. Just wait. She turns to the teacher and she goes, "Oh, I'm Amelia Earhart." Literally everyone. I never facepalmed so hard in my life. I just like, what the no. He literally even the teacher facepalmed. He's like, no, just it. That was by
You literally
far,
just have to sit there.
yeah.
Shut up.
It's like, you're not Amelia Earhart. I literally just said you're JFK's driver. It's like, yeah, that was probably the stupidest moment.
Okay,
I've
I have
witnessed.
I have 2 stories to connect to this. The one will connect to the person, and the one will connect to the class. So the one with the
Right.
person being stupid. I was in science class, and we were talking about, I think like animals regrowing like limbs, and someone's like,
Lizard?
yeah, lizards,
Starfish.
yeah, stuff like that. So someone's like said like, oh, they're like, oh, what if we cut someone's arm off? She's like,
What
oh,
a freaking idiot.
no, but then
Just
she's
wait.
like, oh my gosh, they decapitated that arm.
What? It hurts.
Wow.
But decapitating is taking their head off.
It's like,
And I was like, oh my god,
Like,
how
the
did you
root-
be
one of
so
the
did
stupid?
they think amputating was like the head and decapitating was a limb?
I have
I
no
mean,
idea.
the root word is cap. You put caps on your head. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about amputate?
That's an interesting one. I
Okay.
don't know how you would explain that.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
a little
anyway.
rusty on my Latin roots, guys.
Going back to the other story. So you said it was history. Was it Bergland?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Oh, Matt, you actually
We'll
might
tell
know this story, because this was during
we'll tell
academic
stories.
decathlon.
Oh God. Wait,
Do you-
wait, your first year?
This was the first year.
Okay, I wasn't there then.
No, not first year. This was our junior year.
Oh yeah. that-
Okay.
I was probably not there for this.
No. So we were sitting in Mr. Bergland's room, and he comes in, he's doing his work, we're just studying and whatnot. And he's sitting there, and he sneezes.
Oh no! What a cry!
No, but then, right as he sneezes, he goes, "Oh, there goes $200 worth of cocaine." And it's like 7 in the morning, and I was like, "Holy shit!" What? I was like phased by this. I was like, "It is way too early for this. I'm not mentally
wow.
prepared." I was like, "What just happened?"
So, was he serious?
No, he's not serious.
Of course not.
But he was like,
You never know. Did he like sneeze and it's just like it's like a white cloud?
No, he just did it just to be
Holy
funny.
shit!
But I was
That
like,
is
oh
the
my
greatest
god.
thing ever.
That would have woke me right up. I was sitting here slouching over, and instantly, like,
You
that
thought-
like lit up the room.
You thought it was going to be a boring story, and like, hold up, what?
No, it just took like a 180 and like hit a car. It's like, holy shit, what?
You just flew off into space.
I have a
Holy fuck.
similar story with academic and drugs. So you remember Emily, right?
Wow, hold on.
So,
Do you want to
this
try
is
that
a-
again?
Academic.
Academic?
Ac-
What?
Academic decathlon.
It's
Holy
an
shit.
We call it
abbreviation.
ACDEC.
Oh.
Some people call it academica.
Academic, whatever.
Academic.
Anyway,
academic.
anyway,
or
so you remember
academic
Emily,
or
right?
something.
Sound like you had a
So
stroke.
this was my senior year of high school, my third year there, and wait, it's coming up to the first regional,
Yeah.
something like that, and she just walks in the morning. She's like, okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys here. I was really tempted to bake cookies for you all, but then like put drugs in it. What was that one drug? It was it makes
LSD?
you focus. No, it makes you
Oh,
focus.
Adderall.
Adderall. Like put Adderall in the cookies, so everyone would like just focus on nothing but studying.
Your teacher.
Like,
You know what's
No, she
spooky?
wasn't a teacher.
Oh, that.
But like she just comes in and like, straight up admits that she even has like.
Say, hey, I almost came and drug here to
like,
drug
the
all
only
you
reason
guys.
she didn't do it is because her dealer was charging her $200 per pill.
Man,
You know
I should
what's
start
scary?
selling
Otherwise
my
she would have
Adderall
done
then.
You know what's scary?
I know.
Is it bad that I may actually? I thought
Who
that she
was
would
that?
actually do that.
Just like a member of it?
Yeah.
You know
Why did no one report that?
Because she was,
Because she was
I don't
crazy.
she's
know.
crazy.
Like, I actually have a story about the exact same person and how
Shut
she,
up, computer.
and how she basically she didn't really get me to join Academic. She more like
academic.
What? You guys sound like you're having a stroke when you say that.
she more like forced me into it. Like
Oh, she
yeah, I
forced
remember
you.
that.
yeah, I was just like sitting in the hall.
Yeah.
What
and-
else did she force you, Jared?
Phrasing. Literally, I was just sitting in the hall, and she walks by, and she's like, "Jared, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just
Oh,
sitting
yeah,
here
I
doing
remember
nothing."
that.
And she's like, "Why don't you come and join me at Academic Decathlon?" I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Come on, let's do this." I'm like, "Okay."
Why not just say, no, I'm good?
Because I was just like, "Fine, whatever." And literally, she's like, "Okay, I found us a new member." I'm like, "What?"
He's like, I
Yeah.
didn't.
It's like,
I
is this the
remember
start of an anime? What's happening?
And then did you say the only reason you didn't stay is because I spelled your name wrong?
Yes. That is one of the major reasons. And also, I'm not one for,
Getting up at 6 in the morning to come to class.
I'm not one for Academic Decathlon.
I didn't like it either. Like the second year,
Jesus.
I did it. I like tried studying on my own. But this was like when I had ADD, but I didn't know I had ADD, so it didn't work well at all. So it didn't. It was not good. First year was good, especially because like the music section was jazz based, and I was like, yeah, I got this. And the second year music was Indian based, and I was like,
Yeah, I started going to
It's like,
It's
I
like-
got this a lot less now.
because I was like, oh, second year will probably be somewhat the same. I didn't know that the themes completely changed every year.
It's like
yeah.
jazz, rock, pop, rap, Indian, cultural,
Yeah,
Christmas.
Christmas.
Well, they
K-pop.
seem to follow a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do some sort of major war, then they focus on a country, and then they do some kind of historical period, and then they go back to a war.
Mm-hmm.
So like the first year was World War One, then no, it was Russia.
I wasn't there the first 2 years.
Well, it was, but Spencer was.
Yeah.
So
He's
they
not
did
here.
Russia the first year, then they did World War One, and then they did like some kind of, can't remember what it was.
Cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, some kind of time period, really.
It was,
Then
I
they
know
went-
that it was
Then they went to India, and then I'm assuming they'd probably go back to some sort of war.
the industrial.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So, hot tips for anyone in Academic Decathlon.
Academic.
Academic.
So, no, I'm thinking of stuff that you guys were saying upstairs. Bree, you were gonna share more work stories and things that little kids say.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
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 Talk
And I
about
fucked
those
up my
little
pinky.
children.
Oh yeah.
So
We'll get to that. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's
I
fine. Okay.
work at a summer camp with ages, they're like 4 to 6 around there. And they say, little kids say really weird things. Like, even when you're,
No,
I-
tell me about
like, they still manage to surprise me, and I've been there for years. Like, okay, there's this little girl.
Put more
And-
emphasis on years. Take
Years?
two.
What did I do?
Years.
Well, I've been there. I
No,
feel like
make
really
more. Like start
Don't
like
just-
start at like
Don't just like
90
stop
degrees.
her
No,
mid-story.
years.
I was there for a long time. Okay.
Just stop
Just
her
giving you a hard
mid-story.
I know. Anyway, this little girl, like, I loved this kid. She was super sweet, but every once in a while she'd have really weird, like, moments where you'd kind of question her, like, sanity.
It's like she was really sweet and nuts and stuff, and then one day we
Fire
were like
nation.
doing
Just a little
macaroni
psycho.
art, and she drew the pentagram with the goat head in it, and I was like, holy shit!
Honestly, pretty close.
Did she have black hair and let it just droop
No,
over
she
her
was
face?
a really cute little girl, like, super sweet. She would wear princess dresses, and then one day she comes up to me, wide eyes, and goes, Miss Bree, Satan's trying to talk to me.
You called it!
And I look at her and I'm like, well, what's he saying? And she's
Sit
like,
back down.
he wants me to do bad things.
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
God. Wow.
Holy shit!
And I thought my freaking imaginary friend
What the
penguin
hell?
named like Gregory was weird.
See, and
Wow!
then, you
Holy
know,
top
fuck!
hat.
What
That's
what
awesome.
kind of things?
she just said bad things. So then I like had a
What is okay? Hold on, we gotta classify. What is bad?
I don't know.
Stabbing
I
the
feel like
cats?
it was like
Well, I mean,
crazy.
any kind of
Well,
murder.
okay, wait, hold on. So backstory, she works at a Bible
Yeah,
camp.
it is a Bible camp.
Oh,
So
that
like,
makes more sense.
I don't know what she thinks is, you know, but
Bad.
she made it sound like, you know, very like.
Like,
scary
is
things.
bad things like stealing the ice cream from the fridge though? She is what, like 6?
I feel like she knows what like really bad things are though
Yeah.
because of the follow-up story of something else she told me.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, keep
you
going.
know what?
This is a
Sit back,
two-parter.
story
Oh boy,
time.
everybody strap in for this.
Okay, and then like after that, we were talking about like things that like scared them, and all of a sudden she just sits up and she's like, "You know what?" And I was like, "What?"
wow,
She goes,
holy crap.
She goes, "Sometimes blind people walk into walls and kill themselves."
Holy shit!
Oh my god. Where are you getting this from?
Where did she hear that?
I don't know, and I look at her and I'm like, I don't think so. I think they're okay. Like,
A shrink would have a field day with this child.
I know.
Holy shit.
That's not what I was
So-
expecting.
I have
Wow.
one more really good one. This is about a different kid. This is a little boy.
Oh, good.
And we were sitting at lunch, and for some reason he was like, I don't think grain is real. Grain isn't a real thing. He was determined to convince us that grain didn't exist. So we were talking to him, me and a couple other
It's
leaders.
a Jarod kid.
At least when I'm stupid, I try to prove my stupidity in some way.
So me and this, we're like talking to this
I'll
kid, and we're
defend
like,
my case.
well, why don't you think it's real? You know, having a conversation, and then one of us, like, one of the girls, like, pulls out a bag of, like, oats and was like, look, it says whole grain, it's real. And then he just got so frustrated and goes, no, it's not. None of this is real. Everything's fiction. And, like, storms off.
Wow.
Wait,
This, like, 6-year-old boy, he told us everything was, like, nothing's real. Everything's fiction.
We're all living in the Matrix,
Yeah, he's like,
everybody!
nothing's even real. This is all a lie.
I'm glad George
man,
was
how
the
are
first to
kids
understand
so
the
dumb though?
reference.
Because when I was like, what, 11, I watched The Matrix. And I stayed up at like 4 in the morning watching Matrix. And I knew that that was a movie. That real life wasn't like that.
I know.
But when that Matrix first came out, even adults were like, "Oh my God, are we in the Matrix?" It's like,
No,
no,
we're not.
what?
It's
That
just
kid
a
was total
concept.
conspiracy theorist when he was like 5 or 6. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, but
Wow.
like, honestly, it's like that's not how things are, and it's like I don't feel like I was that dumb at that age. This is like, holy
I
shit.
know, it was funny though.
I'm pretty sure you were. You were just probably blocking out those memories. It's like, no, I can't be the stupid. Nope,
Oh, no,
nope.
I was stupid.
No, I was dumb, but I wasn't like that dumb.
No.
I was like, so like I dyslexia. I can't read or anything. Like, well, I have a hard time reading.
Yeah.
Same.
But like the word fire truck, for some reason, we were making a puzzle, and I thought it said couple of pairs.
That's pretty off.
That's
Yeah,
Right?
that's how bad
Pretty
it was.
far off.
In 6th grade, I read at a kindergarten level.
Really?
That's how bad I was. So I thought it said a couple of pairs. The word was fire truck. So that's how bad it was. And my friend thought I was making fun of him, saying that like they were pairs, and I got sent to the principal office. Well, whatever. I was like, But like that's how dumb I was. But that was for reading. I knew the world was real.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, yeah.
I knew that like if Satan was telling me to do bad things, that I would just be like, God, like help me out.
I know, I had
A little
conversation
help
with
here,
her
bro?
similar to that, and I was like, but you know those things are wrong, so you won't do them, right?
Go to church, speak 3 Hail Marys.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, just
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Like, yeah, Beetlejuice wasn't thing. Now, there was things that I thought were, like, real.
Wait,
like,
we just said it 3 times.
Beetlejuice. Like, there was things that I thought that were real. Like, Bloody Mary. Like, I watched Supernatural. I thought that was fucking real. And I was like, I would not go in. I would, like, every time I walked in the bathroom, my mirrors, like, closed in on, like, a triangle on themselves. I'd always, like, do that really fast. And then
Shatters the mirrors.
Go to the bathroom, and I wouldn't even open them up. I'd leave them there. My mom always thought that was like super weird, and was like, "Daniel, what the fuck is wrong with you?" I was like,
Actually,
Make the triangle for the Illuminati.
Oh my god.
like, Illuminati's a real thing, and it's like,
Oh my god.
I had to have my mom go in, lock the door, turn off the lights, and do it with candles, and then walk out of the bathroom, and me being like.
She had to actually do it to prove to you
Yeah,
that it wasn't
she
real.
did it. She took a mirror, did it, closed the doors, turned off the lights, and did it, and then walked out and was like, oh, "You okay?" She's like, "Your eyes aren't bleeding." And it's like, she's like, "Daniel, it's not real." It's like, and I was like 13. I was like, that's how bad that fucked me up.
Oh my god.
Supernatural. Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
So I used to have a stepsister. I don't anymore. But
Oh, sorry.
we'd sometimes watch this ghost show on Discovery Channel, I think it was.
Oh, like Ghost Hunters?
No, it wasn't Ghost Hunters. It was like
Paranormal Activity.
not
No?
Paranormal
That's a
Activity.
movie.
Yeah.
No,
I think
there's,
it's several
like,
movies.
Yeah, like,
Paranormal something, right?
Yeah, like
I
people
know.
would recount tales of their ghost
I know what you're
houses or
talking about.
something.
I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Paranormal
And
phenomenons.
my stepsister and my actual sister
Something
just
like
took
that.
it so seriously. They'd always get so freaked out. Like they'd actually go up to their room, grab a small bottle of holy water, and start splashing it around. But before they started watching the show, because they were so fucking terrified.
You know what though? They had that, and my sister also watched like Ghost Hunters and whatnot, and they really freaked them out. But one night, my sister grabbed like salt and put it like at her door, put it at her window, things and that, and woke up the next morning. All the salt was blown off, like hands brushed it off, and not all of it either. So it wasn't like my mom went and cleaned it up. It was just like, and it was like my sister, and she had her door locked so nobody could walk in. And she screamed, and we all like were jiggling her knob. Oh God, wording. That's crazy. But no, we opened the door, and it was just like me and my sister have experienced a lot of like weird shit like that, and it was like never understood. And to this day, I'm just like, yeah, that just happened. It was just like weird. Like we were home alone, and we heard like people running upstairs, like clear as day, and then all of a sudden our back door like started getting pounded on, and we turned and we saw like something like gut away, and I was like, what the fuck? And then we heard like wheels rolling upstairs, like up a chair, and I was like, what is going on?
Red
It was like
rum.
it was like holy shit. We ran upstairs, and my dad's like computer chair was just pushed in, and I was like, that was weird.
Yeah.
And it was like,
scared.
and it always happened when there was like a lot of people with us. And then my sister and I we have like the same memory of like the same like 8 foot tall, just like clouded in black guy watching.
So
us.
Slenderman?
Basically, but he wasn't like white face. He was just all black like shadows, and he was just always watching us sleep.
So
And I was like, me and my sister
That's
both, and the
fucking
same
creepy.
nights, were like, hey, and she's like, you saw him, didn't you? And I was like, yeah. I was like, weird. She's like, yeah. Okay.
I think it's
Okay, good night.
It's like that like, but it's things like that that make you think like that was real then, right?
Mhm.
Because like
It's
two
both.
people delusional, that happened then. One person that's like, nah, that didn't happen. Two people seeing the exact same thing without like conspiring with each other beforehand. That's
spooky.
like I just saw that.
Yeah.
It was like, that's weird. That happened. My girlfriend constantly complains about how she always hears noises in my house. And I was like,
It's just the drunk neighbor.
yeah, it's just a drunk neighbor. Who cares? I was like, what are they going to do? Haunt you? Ooh.
What was?
That was a gesture with an iron rod, right? Killing the ghost, like in
I thought he
Supernatural.
was trying to do like the holy water.
Yeah.
I was picturing
And it was
iron
Supernatural,
rod.
the iron rod.
It's like, bam, beat a ghost to submission.
That's what they would do in Supernatural.
Just like,
Just drive over it with an Impala.
what is that one movie where they go and beat the shit out of the printer or whatever in the...
Oh, Office Space?
Yeah, there's just that, but a ghost just like, yeah, fuck you, ghost, get fucked.
Just
It's
curb
like-
stop a ghost.
You think they don't realize that this is our world now? They can go fuck themselves.
Did you all hear that?
Yeah, did you hear that? Like something just moved back there behind. Well, yeah,
Wait, what? Really?
I mean, Dan was pounding on the ground, so
Yeah.
they probably just shifted.
So,
That's
Matt, you had a
You guys are
story.
already
Yeah,
freaking out just because it was ghost stories.
I
Don't
thought
let
you
it
were
get
right.
to you. If there's any
Oh.
ghost here, they'll leave eventually.
If there's any ghost here, knock over one on Jared's glass. Oh my god!
Just cut off.
The best part is when it actually just falls over and no one's realizing it and
Yeah.
be like, hey, your glass fell
It's
over.
like, oh my god, because it's a podcast and you can't see anything, it actually happens!
Wait, do you guys think that the Ouija board thing is real?
Oh my god,
Okay.
Jared. I forgot George was here.
George is the ghost. Damn. Just
Great contribution though.
there's a way for like you not to have evil spirits. You actually line it with moonstones.
Really?
No, I
Oh,
totally,
really?
I
Yeah.
totally
Didn't even know
think
that.
it is because I was in like middle school and my friend and I were doing the Ouija board in her basement, and then I jokingly said something like, "Oh my," like because her cat was like in the basement with us and like made some noise, and I was like, "Your cat's possessed," and all of a sudden the cat just like rocketed straight at us out of nowhere, and I was like, "Oh
Holy
my gosh,
shit.
I was right. Let's get out of here."
Out of this house. Out of this house. Just have the cross.
Because it was like really far away, like in like another room of the basement, and
And
I
it's like someone
and-
threw it.
yeah,
It's
and I had heard it like moving. I was like, "Oh, your cat's possessed, haha!" And then all of a sudden it was like right there, like jump like at us, and I was like,
It's like you rang.
"I'm sorry."
You know, it's funny you say that because my sister and her friend made a Ouija board and did it in the attic upstairs, or like a little loft we had. My mom walked in and she went, "What did you do?" Like my sister did like hours ago though, like last night, and my mom just got home and she yelled. She's like, "What did you do?" And my mom walked in, knowing that I wasn't doing anything like that. Walked into my sister's room and was like, "You did a Ouija board thing, didn't you?" And it was like, "Holy shit!" Like, wow. And she like caught her like that, and I was like, my mom's like in tune to that shit. She like knows when shit's happened.
Okay, which one of you fucked with evil spirits?
Like no kidding. My mom is like scary like that. Like she knows things that like happen. She's like, "You did a Ouija board." She told her straight out, and then my sister was like, "No." She's like, "Don't you fucking lie to me. You're gonna go up there and you're gonna destroy it somehow." And it's like,
Yeah,
You're like pointing
you have
right at
to.
my
You have
face.
to remember. George is.
"But George, you're here."
So,
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys believe in ghosts though?
I believe in spirits.
there's a lot of things
The-
that are so hard.
What's
to,
the difference between a spirit and a ghost?
Ghosts are vengeful.
Pretty much.
Spirits are usually bounded. Well, that's an earthen spirit, but they're bounded to something.
Mm.
But spirits could also be called into something that is like an angel. An angel is a spirit. God is a spirit. The devils are demons, which are just fallen angels, are spirits. The devil is just a spirit. They're all spirits, but they're not bounded to anything. Ghosts usually, you say vengeful, but ghosts also usually have like purposes that they
Right.
need finished or something that they need done.
So
But do you believe in that?
there was like a medium that came to my college last year, and I was like an event manager, so I had to stay and like supervise the event, even though normally that isn't something I would like go to because that just freaks me out. But she like just knew things about people that there's no way like things they barely like knew. She'd like look at them and be like, "I see it like a man next to you standing, he's wearing this, like it's your grandfather," like or like just weird things that like no one could have possibly known like about them.
So she would be like, "I see someone following you. It's a nice old lady. She
Actually,
has
turn around,
kind
she's
of
there.
shortish hair. She looks kind of like your grandmother. She has kind of a smaller, thinner nose.
No, it wasn't like that because I know what you're getting at. Like they just say like
No,
general
like then she'd be like, oh, and she has like a scar in her ear. Is that from like an incident where she like ripped off an earring or something? And then she's like, her wedding band, she'd like describe like exactly her wedding band and stuff, like things like that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
She like got simple with it, but then went like super like
like at first you're like okay,
but one of his eyes is like, does he have a glass eye? It's like,
or
things like they're like, yeah, my dad just told me about that like last week.
Yeah, or like something where like she'd be like, oh, they're like pointing to their heart. Did like they die of a heart attack or something? And they were like, you were really young when it happened, right? And then she was like, oh, it was on your birthday, wasn't it? And like knew that like their grandparent died on their birthday when they were younger, and just stuff like that. That's like, whoa, okay, that's a little intense.
Someone died on my birthday. Fuck that.
Like it was something like that, and like some other stuff like that was just so weird that like I couldn't figure out a way that like she could have figured that out beforehand, you know. And trust
really
me, I
good at what she does.
like,
so like sees the actual spirit.
Like she like it has to be legit is what I'm saying, because there's no way she could have like, you know, unless she like staged the whole thing. But I doubt, you know.
But you knew the people.
Yeah, they were just like students.
They're students you knew, so she wasn't staging it.
No, exactly is what I'm saying. Like it's not like she could have.
Yeah,
faked it,
I don't know.
You know.
That stuff is always like.
Or I couldn't figure out how she could have possibly faked it.
Or figured it out. Yeah, I don't know. That stuff is always like weird for me.
Yeah.
I go by my dad's rule a little. It's like, don't fuck with that shit, because that's just bad voodoo.
That's just bad voodoo.
He doesn't use that exact wording, but it's basically that.
I don't know, George. Have you ever had anything like that?
No, I just like keep seeing it in scary movies. So I'm just like, what is this?
He's like,
Is this actually real?
No. You never had any like incidents or anything?
I can't think of any at the top of my head.
I have one very minor one. It's not very interesting. So I had this old when I was really young, I had this Goosebumps book, and it had this really strange hole like at the very top of it. It was paperback, and it would kind of go in and then curve to the outside. And every so often, the hole would change. One day it would be curving to the outside, the other day it would just go straight down. And then I look at it like a week later, and it'd be curving back out to the outside.
That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly! I couldn't explain it.
Huh. There's a hole in your book and it was different?
This sounds like a Goosebumps book.
Exactly!
The case of them.
I've gone through that
weird,
in the back of my closet for years and haven't looked at it since.
Holy shit, that's really weird.
I've actually had an interaction with a spirit. We had this candle in the center. We had a candle lit in the center of our living room, and it just kept flickering for no apparent reason. And my mom was like, "Oh, there must be a ghost or something in this house." And she was like, "Flicker for yes if it's someone we know," and it would flicker like yes, and then if it didn't, it would just not flicker. And my dad's like, or my mom asks, "Are you my dad who like passed recently?" And my dad's like, "If that thing just starts flickering, I'm leaving." And it just starts going crazy, and he's like, "I'm out." He just literally walks in.
What do you mean by flicker? Because like candles tend to kind of do that.
Like it would like stop, like it would stop flickering and just like go normal, and then it would just like go nuts.
Oh, now I see what you're
like it wasn't like anything natural. I know candles flicker naturally, but that was not natural. Like, so yeah, that's why I believe in spirits.
Like, I don't know if this counts, but I think I had this thing called sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
And it felt like my eyes were open, and
they probably were.
Yeah, they probably were, but I saw like this weird shadowy figure.
But
like,
you couldn't move?
I couldn't move, so I'm like,
that's
what
terrifying.
should I do? Like,
actually,
I had sleep paralysis too, which is just, my girlfriend's really good at telling like why that happens and stuff. It's when your when your brain is awake when you're not supposed to be or something.
Yeah, it's where your body is still asleep. But
your body's asleep, but you're not asleep. Mm-hmm. And it's like, whatever. My girlfriend's super like good at all that psychic or psychology shit. I don't know. That's like her expertise. But I had this one time where like I was like floating and I was like, why am I floating? And my legs weren't working, but my arms were, and I went like this, and my bed started moving back and forth, and I was like, holy shit, what? And I heard seagulls going around, and I was like, I was looking around, and I was like, what? Where's the seagulls? And I was like, I looked over, and I was like in a pool, and I was like, what? And like my room was flooded, and it had like one of those pool lights, and I saw something swimming in the water, and like I was like, fuck. So I like went away, but there was, my bed was against the wall, but it wasn't. I was like, where's the wall? So I was like perfectly in the middle of my bed, and I was like, kitty, 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 because my cat Misty, I was like freaking out. I needed her to comfort. She stands up from my desk, which is all the way across the room. She hisses at the ground, tail puffs up, and I was like, kitty, kitty, kitty. I was like, get over here.
Protect me from the demons in this pool.
She climbed all the way around, not going like on the floor or anything, all the way around, which is very abnormal for a cat because they're very lazy. They'll take the closest rat. She just went all the way around and was like clawing on the bed slowly up to me, and I like pet her, defluffed her tail, and I was petting her. She clawed into me, and I was like, okay, this is fucking weird. And I like kept hearing the seagulls, and I was like, I'm not on the fucking ocean or something. And the thing swimming in the water, it was either like a shark or something or a manta ray, and it was like just kept going, and then eventually left my room, and then I was like, okay, I guess I don't need to be afraid of that anymore. And I started to go to bed. Went to check the next morning what that light was. Nothing was there. And I was like, straight up just like, what the fuck? I was like, I had no idea.
And what drug was this?
I was like,
LSD.
How did this go from school to ghost stories?
I don't know, because she started talking about like Satan with that little child. And then I was like,
Weird
dude,
stuff kids
weird
say.
shit happens though.
Yeah. They're kind of like what you were saying, like when, like how you were sleeping and it was weird. I remember once, we were sleeping together, and
Ooh, tell us more about that.
literally sleeping together. But like supposedly, like I started like shaking, like jolting in my sleep, and like it almost like I was having like a seizure in my sleep, and
I do that a lot too. My girlfriend tells me how like I sleepwalk and shit, and it freaks her out and shit.
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell?
It was weird because like he'll like twitch sometimes, but it was like it like kept happening like over and over again, and I like eventually like shook him awake, and I was like, "Are you okay? Like you're like shaking."
Yeah.
It was really weird. I don't know.
See, I'd like to do it like have a sleep study done on you.
I was,
because I know.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I know moving in your sleep a little bit is normal, and like your eyes go out. That's rapid eye movement.
It's weird though because I do like weird shit. I talk in my sleep. I sleepwalk.
I talk in my sleep.
My girlfriend does this thing where she in her sleep, she'll be sleeping. All of a sudden, she'll punch the bed, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
She'll fight in her sleep.
What? She like punches the bed, or if she's laying on her back, if she's laying on her stomach, she'll full up, wind up, and punch it, like straight up, and I can feel it too.
Oh man.
And I was like, okay. If she's sleeping on her back, she like hammers it, like punches it like this, and I was like, "What are you dreaming of?" But it's also weird.
I'm dreaming of you, sweetie.
No, she always says she's not dreaming of anything. It's just, I was like, that's so weird because you're punching it hard enough to like shake the bed. It's like, and it's always weird because she always. I have night terrors every so often. She'll always know when I do because I'll wake up drenched.
Yeah.
See, I was just about to bring that up because I like recently have been having them like pretty frequently, and there's one time where like I just remember like feeling panicked and waking up, and there was like a weird shadow in my room, and okay, I feel like it looked like a moose to me, probably was just a weird shadow, but like I was so like I had this feeling of such terror that I like screamed and ran out of my room. Like I was like ran down the hall, and my dad like stops me and he's like, "Brianna, what's wrong?" And then I just kind of like realizing that it wasn't real was like, "Oh, nothing," and like went back to bed. But like I just remember that feeling of like sheer panic, like just waking up and feeling so afraid for no reason. So weird.
I actually had. That just reminded me of like this one weird nightmare I had as like a real little kid.
With a moose?
Yeah.
Everyone who watches this is gonna think we're all crazy.
Yeah.
It's like.
So
Wait, you said watch.
God damn it!
Listen!
yeah, I'm calling you out on it.
Fuck you, Dan.
Oh, there's a story
That's
Andrew
true.
wants me
Too.
to tell.
Which one?
The work one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well, no, here.
Hold on.
what's
Yeah,
I
happening?
got also a story about that too.
Alright, so when I was like a real little kid, my bed was positioned like by the window, and so one night, I think this was a nightmare, but it seemed so real.
Yeah.
Like my window became like one of those weird stages for like a puppet act,
Yeah.
and like
yeah.
a hand puppet act, not like a marionette. It got really weird. It was like they were
What
just
drug
going
was
through this
this?
skit, and it was
Yeah.
super creepy. And then it's like, now it's time for the real show. And then everything went dark, and then everything went red, and then just like this weird music started coming in. I was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I woke up and I was like, okay, what?
So, okay, I
Oh.
guess unrelated. Anyone here sleep with their eyes open?
No.
No.
Do you?
No,
mean
I
daydream?
don't. But like, have you ever fallen asleep and your eyes were kind of like half open,
No.
No.
and you could still kind of see what was going on outside?
No.
No.
Because
Yes.
you're awake, aren't you?
That's
Well,
sort of
kinda
like a
that.
Twilight
I
sleep.
vaguely remember
I also
it
have
happening
things
once.
called astral projections, which
What
is
the
when like
fuck?
I'm
Oh,
asleep,
yeah, that's right.
but I can walk around in the real world,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that's actually how I passed high school. Because the teacher will be giving lessons, but I would be so tired I'd be asleep. But then when I wake up, I'd be like, yeah, I already know the subject. You just taught it. And the teacher would be like, huh? And I'd be like, yeah, you talked about this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this, and this.
So
And
you
I
just
gave
Dr.
everything.
Stranged
Oh
high
my
school?
God.
Yeah, basically. And it got to the point where my history teacher was very concerned for me because I kept falling asleep in his class, and I was just like, it's just your room. I was like, your room makes me really tired. I'm like, I'm not tired. Your room just makes me fall asleep. And he's like, that's really weird to say. And I was like, it's okay though. I know the lesson. I was like, I was listening. And I was like, he's like,
like,
he's like, I don't think you have. And I was like, yeah, you were just talking about World War II and how D-Day happened and blah, blah, blah. And that we almost lost the fight and it was a very close fight and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, that was it. And I was like, yeah, I told you I was listening. He was like, but you were snoring. And I was like, so? And? But no, back to your story, seeing black figures and stuff. Again, this like 7-8 foot tall black shadow thing.
Slender
My-
Man.
Again,
The Reaper.
my sister was like I don't know, she was like freaking out or something, like scared or something. So I got out of my bed and walked over to her and I opened her door and I saw something the black figure again looking over and like bending over and just watching her as she's laying in bed. And for me, I was just like, okay, that's weird. And I went back to sleep. Woke up the next day, and she was like she was like terrified. She was like on verge of like tears or whatnot. And I was like, who was in your room last night? And she like got cold, and she was like frozen. She's just like, I don't know.
We're just
I was
gonna
like,
call the
I-
episode of this
that's-
podcast
I-
spooky.
She's like,
Spooky.
she's
Story
like,
time.
I don't know.
Spooky stories.
That's why I
Three
was like
spooky
crying
fire.
or whatever, and I was like, he wouldn't go away, and he was standing in my doorway, and I looked away, and then when I looked back, he was standing over me, and I was like, yeah, I saw him standing over you, and
why didn't you do something?
the best part about that though, I told her like 2 years later, I was like, hey, who was that figure standing over your bed like 2 years ago? And she was like, you fucking saw that? And I was
He's like, why did you say anything?
Why didn't you do anything?
well, because I was like, I thought it was just one of her friends or
Oh, like-
something, and I was like 8, and I asked her again when I was 10, and then
Is
I
she
brought it
older?
up again. She's 6 years older.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, she's 16. She might just have a friend or whatever. And I was like, that's so weird. And then we always saw like it was never just happened at night. It always happened during the day too. And we saw him like walk from my room to my sister's room. And I jumped out of my chair, fell on my ass in the middle of the living room, and crawled back onto our long couch where she was sitting. And she was like, "Did you just see that?" And I was like, "Yeah." "Did you just see that?" She was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Did you see him walk in my room?" I was like, "Yeah." "What is he doing in your room?" She's like, "I don't know." I was like, "Should we call Mom?" "Probably not." "What the fuck is he doing in your room?" "I don't know. I saw him walk in your room."
Do you have the number for the Winchester brothers?
But it was just like, because we always usually saw him at night, so we always thought kind of we were delusional. We saw him clear as day walk from my room to her room, and that fucking scared the shit out of us.
Like, was the hallway lit or was it kind of dark?
It was like 11 in the morning when that
But were
happened.
the lights on?
Yeah.
Or was it just like sunlight?
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I have a hallway in my house that has no windows in it,
Yeah, like
so
that.
it's like
Yeah.
really dark unless you have a
But
light
both
on.
our doors were open, and both our rooms have windows in it that shine directly into the.
Oh, okay.
See what-
Okay.
Yeah, it was like,
Well, like,
but it was like dark, like
But
as
like-
black as the TV over there. And it was like, and physical too. Like you saw it, and it was like that was weird. I think we ended up just like going over, checking her room, not seeing anything, and just ignoring it. Me and my sister do a lot of things. We're just like,
Fuck it.
fuck
you
it.
know, that could be the devil himself, but we can just ignore it.
YOLO.
It's
Why
like,
not?
It's like,
Why-
Lucifer, is that you? If it is, come back.
it's like,
No? Okay.
no, okay,
We're
It's
good.
like-
It's like,
oh man.
we're fine, guys.
It's not safe.
So there was we have there's like a Bible whatever thing at my college, and there was this guy here, and I went up to him and I was like, hey, you know Lucifer's not Satan, right? And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And that was it.
And just walked
What?
away.
And I met him at lunch later, and he was like, so prove to me that Satan and Lucifer aren't the same person. I was like, all right, you need to give me time. Went home, grabbed the Bible, sat there. My mom walked in. She's like, what are you doing? Proving Satan's not Lucifer again. And she was like, oh, okay. My mom sat down. She's like, oh, yeah, don't forget this scripture. Don't forget this part. Sat there, wrote a page or two of like just scripture verses and stuff and points and reasons why they're not the same person, and gave it to a girl that I knew that knew him. I was like, there you go. I was like, that's why they're not the same person. I was like, done. I was like,
Check and mate.
strongest point to make is
I
that's
like how she just walked in and accepted it. Like, oh, okay, let me
You're
help
like,
you.
sure.
no, because I had already convinced my mom that they are not the same person like
Okay.
a year ago. It's like
Okay.
Okay, who's wrapping it up? Jared.
Damn.
Everyone just looks at me. Alright.
Have George wrap it up this time.
Yeah.
George, use your words.
I don't know how to do them.
We're signing out. This has been Jared, Matt, Dan, George, Bree, and Anthony. Thank you very much.
Will they hear that?
Hope you guys enjoyed the
I'll actually-
podcast.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Watch
all of our other content.
Watch our other content.
or listen if you
Don't forget to hit that notification
Watch our
bell.
podcast.
Jared's Patreon is in the description.
Yeah. Yes.
Alright, thanks guys, and we'll catch you next.